you wonder what's the best weather app for boat life? Something I get asked frequently, and I'll happily tell you about the apps I've found useful over our years of cruising. This is Carolyn Sherlock, and on this episode of the Boat Galley Podcast, I'll tell you what weather apps we rely on. First, let me tell you about another one. The Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Fast Seas. Plan your next passage using fastseas.com. Whether you're after speed or comfort, Fast Seas will find the optimum route to your destination. Fast Seas, making weather routing simple. Use coupon code GALLEY for an exclusive 10% discount. And I'm serious when I say I love that app for actually planning out routes and knowing what of various things might work out the best. It kind of goes in with what we're talking about today, which is favorite weather apps. I get asked that a lot, and I use basically three things. I use Windy, Radar, something called Hurricane Tracker, and then we use Marine Weather Center, Chris Parker. Apps, forecasting services, and so on are all great, but as our former Sea of Cortez weather guru, Don Anderson, always said at the end of his forecast, local conditions will prevail. Don't forget to look out the hatch. I want to pound that into you. Look and see what's happening. That's real. Forecasts are ideas of what's going to happen. What you're seeing is what's really happening. Okay, now as I'm talking here, these are what we use for cruising Florida and the Bahamas. Other people are going to have other favorites for other areas of the world. Secondly, all of the ones I talk about require internet access. Chris Parker's Marine Weather Center requires either email access or single sideband receiver, whichever one you want to go with, and I'll talk a little bit about those two options later. Now, there's two Windies. One is Windy Red because it has a little red icon. One is called Windy Blue because it has a little blue icon. I find that for boating, Windy Red, I like the information that it gives me a little bit better. You'll see Windy Blue doing a lot of advertising these days for boaters, but really they're probably better for anglers. For boaters, cruisers, that kind of thing, Windy Red, I think, has a little bit more availability or a little bit more data available, I should say. Windy gives me big picture of what the wind, the waves, rain forecasts are. Colors show the wind strength and the arrows show the direction. You can also set it in motion to see the changes hour by hour, day by day. You can zoom in and out as well. No forecast is ever 100%, but Windy's been pretty accurate for us. You can use Windy in any browser. It also has an iOS and Android apps. I like to use it in a browser, at least use it, say, on an iPad or a laptop to have a little bit bigger screen. I also use Radar a lot. Radar programs seem to come and go, so I'm not going to recommend a specific one. I like ones that show how fast storm cells are moving and in what direction. The next thing that I use is an app called Hurricane Tracker. It's available basically for any platform that you're on and is $6 or less for lifetime access. It doesn't do anything that you can't get on the National Hurricane Center website. What a hurricane tracker does brilliantly is to make the information easy to access, which is really critical if you have slow internet or if you pay by the data amount used. For each storm, the Hurricane Tracker has all the NHC maps, the satellite images, the official forecasts, and discussion. It's quick and easy to just tap or click from one to another, which is, to me, the real benefit in using it. The ease of use is why I'm willing to pay for it. Marine Weather Center, Chris Parker's Weather, that is really a wonderful service and not horribly expensive if you're using it full year round. Chris and his staff are all full-time marine forecasters for Florida, up the East Coast, Bahamas, Bermuda, the Caribbean, that area. They provide subscription forecasts both by single sideband and email. If you subscribe on single sideband, you can talk with him during his designated times for your location. We prefer email as it gives us more time to digest it. We can go back over it if we need to. and we're not tied to a schedule for checking the weather. A couple times we've emailed back with a question about forecast, always gotten an answer back within a few hours. You can't send an email every single day, but when you do have a serious question about what they've said, yes, send it in. I often hear you can listen into Chris on single sideband without paying, and it is true. However, I feel like if you use their services with any frequency, it's worth paying for it. Remember that these are full-time occupations for 3 forecasters. Plus, they have to pay for all of the equipment that they have and so forth. They like to put food on the table. Now, Chris is a former cruiser. He understands weather as it applies to boats, like what we care about, what's good for particular passages, and so forth. He's done a great job of training the other forecasters who work with him on all of those boat-related concepts. The forecasts are quite accurate. If anything, they tend to err on the side of caution. In the show notes, there's a link to the Marine Weather Center's subscription packages. You can get anything from a one-time forecast or planning for a particular route, or you can get a year's worth of a combination package for single sideband and email and just about anything in between. I hope that you have found this episode of the Boat Galley podcast to be interesting, informative, etc. If so, please be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And also tell your friends about us. We like to have more and more listeners. With that in mind, remember, the Boat Galley. This is where we help make your boat life better. Take care. We'll talk to you next week.